Yeah.
We just wing it.
Oh, we're live.
All right. We are live. Guys, welcome to Fish North Georgia's the live well this Thursday night. Thank you for joining us. And if you're listening on a later date, hey, we appreciate you guys too. Got a great conversation we're going to have with Mr. Scott Barnes here tonight. We're going to talk all things Lake Lanier, might get in a little drama, and wherever your comments lead us, that's where we're going to go. Tonight, I'm going to introduce our latest sponsor. Guys, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Opson Fluorocarbon. Okay, it might be a name you've never heard of, but if you lived out on the West Coast, you know a lot about them. They make fluoro leaders for tuna fishermen. Okay, and if you think about this, those things have got to be really clear in the water. Where they're getting ready to delve into the freshwater line of products. December 18th, they're going to drop, and you're going to be knowing a lot about those guys here lately because we're going to be really telling you all about it. Cool thing about Opson, and I did not know this, it's the protein in a fish's eyes that lets it separate light and I guess darkness. You know, something like that. I'm not a biologist. I don't know if you are. Hey, listen, it's something different. Tuna and trout have the highest amounts of opsin. So the higher the opsin, the better a fish can see. Catfish have the lowest ones. Here in North Georgia, everybody's using fluoro leaders. I bet you do.
Yeah.
I bet you do. We all do it. And so, hey, this is a new product coming to market. You guys are going to want to know a lot about it. And if you want to go and check them out on their website, www.opsin, and I didn't even tell you that, so it's my fault. I think it's Opsin Fluoro. FNG gets you 20% off. And we're going to have a question of the week tonight. And whoever answers that is going to get a $50 discount code to their website. So December 18th. Huh? You like that?
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. So December 18th is when it's going to drop. And we're going to get to learn a lot more about this product. And I hopefully will have my hands on some by next week so we can show you. You know, it's American craftsmanship, Japanese precision right there. So we're going to definitely do that. So we appreciate Opson coming on board with us and getting to know them and getting their products in your hands. That's the goal with this and all that. Ryan, tell everybody about the rest of our sponsors.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be telling you all about our other fantastic sponsors that you already know that we have, and you should use them for sure, 100%. Of course, Adams Renovations. Call Charlie Adams and 470-505-3412 for all of your renovating, new construction, whatever it may be, needs. We do not do spiral staircases, but we are building barns and fences right now. So if you got any of that stuff that you need to do, hit us up. We'll take care of you. That's Charlie Adams with Adams Renovations. Festive Water Paddle Sports, your North Georgia paddle sports shop right by Lake Lanier. Go see them over there at the corner of 369 and Highway 400, or visit them online at www.festivewater.com. Kayaks, whatever it may be, get in that game. Go see those guys.
Amen.
Nathan and or whatever his name is. They'll take care of you. I've had a long day.
Yes, it's been a long day
today.
Yes, it has.
And of course, Sonar Pros. Trent Palmer with Sonar Pros, the official sonar installer of the live well. Call today at 770-530-4505. Get on the list to get scheduled for a sonar hookup. He is the best around. He hooks up the pros boats. If he hooks up pros boats, you got to go see him.
Yes.
Trent will take care of you. And of course, as always, right there behind Danny.
Woo! New sign.
Turner Tire, the brand new sign right over there from Jasper, Georgia. Our local tire, brakes, whatever it may be, supply shop over here in Jasper, Georgia. Brock Turner, you guys may know him. I know Scott knows him very, very well. Former pit crew angler. Took a lot of your money, I would assume, too. But Brock Turner over there at Turner Tire, go call them guys. Danny, you want to see me what that number looks like right behind you so they can call them guys tomorrow? That is 706-253-3339. That is Turner Tire over here in Jasper, Georgia. And
did we miss anybody? Did we miss anybody?
I don't. Got one more real important sponsor. I'm going to turn it right back over to you. Edwa Meadery and Dahlonega. Danny, what are you drinking on tonight?
Tonight, we're drinking, let me pull this out. We got a mead tonight. It's the RB&B. It's a raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry mead. A couple of our audience members have tried this, and they like it very much. I'm telling you, it's pretty good stuff. It's a sparkling mead. Now, the cool thing about mead is it can be delivered via mail. So if you don't have a chance to go up and see the guys up at Edwa, you can actually go online and order. Now, they can't ship their beer. That's against the law. Did you know that?
I don't even know what mead is. You got to educate me.
That's Viking beer, man.
Is that what
it is? It's actually a honey wine. it's a honey wine. So they use honey instead of the sugars and all that other stuff. So,
All right.
but that's what the Vikings drank. Now I don't know if they drank raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry, but the Vikings drank mead. So that's what it is. This
Probably
is probably
not.
like one of the oldest alcoholic type drinks you can get.
How about that?
Yeah, ain't it pretty
Probably
neat though?
not.
But again, hey, go check them out. Edwa Beer and Wine and Dahlonega, Georgia. Tell the guys up there at Fish North Georgia sent you. And we're gonna have 4 more new flavors in the coming months. So, but yeah, Airbnb. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Let's give it a try.
It's good, ain't it, Kevin? It is good. So yeah, so
We got some peanut gallery.
we got some peanut galleries here tonight. All right, so they moved my seat back a little bit. I think I can see. Y'all gonna have to excuse the windburn, sunburn face. I've been up on the Chattooga trying to make a fly fishing video. Poorly, but we did a fine job getting out there and we caught fish. So you guys don't want to hear about that. What you want to hear about is the guy that's sitting here beside me, the mayor, the G Daddy, Scott Barnes. So how you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. Great to see you, Dan.
Yeah, I know. Interesting thing is our wives work together.
But they do.
So I get to keep up on the gossip. Scott doesn't know I know everything about, but yeah, I'm sure it's probably the same way. But no, our wives work together. We're in the fishing community here together. So again, it's always a pleasure anytime you guys, because thinking about your wife, anytime you can come up here
Yeah, man. I truly
and hang
appreciate
out
it.
with it. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, and if you haven't, you should have. On the our Facebook page, on several of the others, the Lanier, it's the Lanier tournament page.
Correct.
That's it. That you run that, right? That's your page.
Actually, Carrie Bell and Tim actually run it, and I'm just one of the administrators.
Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawkins.
Oh, bless your heart. No, Tim over at Hammonds. If you guys have been paying attention over the last couple of tournaments, you've seen some absolutely outstanding weights. And it's just a testimony to Lake Lanier and the type of fishery that is, especially with these spotted bass. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. In your comments, in the comments section, if you got questions for Scott, want to know a little bit about what's going on, you got to put them in there so that we can ask him. And other than that, we're just going to have some real good conversation. But I'm going to start you off with a softball.
Okay.
Real easy question.
Bring it.
Okay. I mean, it ain't been in the news or nothing lately. Ben Milliken, Randy Blockett. Which side you own and why?
Forward-facing sonar is here to stay.
That's right.
It is. It's a business. It's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Sponsorship is going to be
A lot of money.
questioned if it goes away or they don't want to compete with it. But I just don't see no way around it, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you use it.
I do.
Yeah.
A lot of these young kids are using it. Everybody that I know pretty much on the tournament trail uses it. And again, it doesn't make the fish bite, but it certainly gives you an opportunity to, see what we didn't know prior to.
That's the big thing. The one thing that I've noticed is, seeing how the fish react to baits. Throwing over a brush pile, trying to get it come up top. You can see that fish. If it comes up 6 foot from the top and turns back down, well, I might want to throw a jerk bait. I can't, or something else, just something different. Seeing how they react to certain baits. So
No doubt. And, you're seeing that today, Emil and also Jordan Lee recently over the last couple of days. I've seen some videos that they posted. And what's cool is, you may see those videos on YouTube that are not on your home lake, right? And you watch them a little bit. But when you see them actually on Lanier, the Lanier guys, you can see that what different techniques are out there. Emil's hopping it over brush. He's watching the fish, he's throwing it over, and you can see the behaviors, I guess, and learn from that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see that lake produce over and over again.
It's crazy.
Forward-facing sonar, again, not going to make the fish bite, but it gives you, I think, an advantage to, target and throw at, not waste time and not wasted water.
Yeah. All you guys in the comment section right there, hey, keep the questions coming. But I want to call somebody out real quick before we get in this conversation a little bit more. Stephen Barday, Roll Tide. Listen, all right, y'all won one game, but buddy, I ain't seen you all year long. Y'all win one game, and now you're in the comment section saying Roll Tide. Where the hell you been? All right, so
in my boat.
Well, that was just this one day. He was in your boat one day.
Twice.
Well, twice. He's been gone for daggum a year. We ain't heard nothing from him in a year. But anyway, Barday, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
See you in the comment section right there. How do you think, as a personal angler, we're going to talk about your tournaments and all that, but as you being an angler, how has forward facing changed the way you approach fishing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, again, prior to forward-facing sonar, you had your waypoints, you had your structure scan, you had your sonar, and you went out there and, targeted where the brush piles were, or you've seen fish on the sonar and you may drop a spoon on them or something.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's purely live action. It's
Yeah.
totally different technology. And I don't think I approach fishing different. I think that I may move quicker, or I may leave a spot quicker because I can't trigger a bite that, fish are there and they're seeing the bait come over them on top water and just chasing it, which I can't stand anyway. Right. But you got to keep moving to find that one that you trigger. So I think it's changed me to speed up the process a little bit versus, staying in one area and just fishing it thoroughly. And that may not be the right thing to do. Somebody may come in and do that more effectively, and they do. I'm sure they do it a lot more effectively. But for me, I'd rather move quick, have higher percentages in a tournament, not fun fishing, but tournament fishing. It's going to be, I want to see from a percentage standpoint, can I go hit 67 places and see if I can trigger that big bite?
Yeah.
But if I'm fun fishing, I'll literally stay in a ditch or a creek or
you'll
something,
slow down a little bit. Yeah. So do you think the forward-facing sonar helps the guys that fish the bottom more, middle water column, or all together? Like the guys that are throwing at brush, has it really accentuated their game and brought it up to a new level, or just all around?
All around. It's got to be all around. But, I know that probably, and Ryan probably agree with this, and everybody in the room right now, is that, do you have that feeling too, that if you're basically shining that fish or that school of fish on a brush pile and you're triggering them to follow the bait and this, that, and the other, do we feel sometimes, and this is a question for you too, is that, do we feel that if we've got it on them all the time, are they detecting it?
I've thought about that.
Should we turn it away? Should we just make the cast to it, turn it away, and wait for the bite versus, hey, there's one, I'm going to follow it. He's coming. Rather than doing that, I find myself and Clay always, when we're shallow, we move it away. We may shine up and on a point.
So seriously, you move it away. So when you see that fish reacting, you turn it away.
I don't know if it helps or doesn't help, but we catch a lot of fish not even looking at them.
You're the first one that have said that. That said that to me, that they actually turn it away once they see the fish.
Yeah.
Are you going to jump in here now?
It's my turn this week.
Paul is here. So
big old bucket of chicken over here.
There's some chicken.
And again, I don't know if there's anything with that or not.
So that's kind of interesting because you have the conversation. Yeah. Paul's hungry, guys. Hey, Paul, I guess you ain't a daddy yet. Not yet. Any minute now. Yet. Oh, he's got it. Listen,
I didn't even know.
They got some bread. Yeah. The bread is in the oven.
No kidding.
And it is about ready to be done.
Why is he here?
I don't know, because he's crazy, I guess. He just likes us that much.
Good to see you.
Good idea at the time.
Helps me not jump the gun. Is that CA? You guys moved me farther away, and you know how I can't read anyway. Is that what that says? CA helps me not jump the gun. What do you think about that, Ryan? That comment that Scott just made, where him and Clay are out there fishing. Is it once you see the fish start to react, you turn it away, or once you see the fish, you turn it away?
It all depends. I mean, psychologically, you've seen in the past where some people are fishing and they turn off their graphs on the back of the boat so it doesn't interfere with the front, or they turn the graphs off. I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but yes, sometimes we'll be out and fishing shallow and scan up and see some fish and just turn it away and cast to them in that direction. Because you're not going to see every fish on forward-facing sonar.
Right.
But I don't know, psychologically, I may feel like, hey, man, something's not right here.
Yeah, well, I would say the vast majority of guys, they want to see that fish hit. That's why everybody calls it video game fishing now. You're watching it. That might be the way to do it, the way you're talking about. But you see that guy that's bringing it through there, and he's like, all right, here it comes. Set the hook. And they do it not even on the feel of the rod. They do it based upon what's going on that screen.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying that could possibly get those fish used to that or spook them in certain situations?
Maybe. I don't know. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, Ryan, what do you think, Ryan?
So I've experimented actually with it. I've actually like looked at fish and then go, man, I'm gonna try something, and then look at where they are and just go wow and turn it completely away and throw right up there where it was and not get a bite. So it's almost like I don't know if it matters. I guess you can debate that all you want. Lanier is, and I say Lanier, all the herring lakes though are different because they're all different than shad lakes. Because the one thing about it is, and this is my opinion, and Scott may kind of agree with this too,
we'll find out
to an extent.
We'll find out.
Herring lakes, when they want to eat, they're going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't want to eat, it don't matter what the hell you throw. They ain't going to eat it.
Yeah.
Now, they may eat 2 hours from now. They may eat 30 minutes from now. But if they don't want to eat at that very moment, they ain't going to eat. And to me, it's now becoming, with forward-facing sonar, the ones that want to eat are easy to catch. They're very, very easy to catch because there's no guesswork involved. They're right there. It's now becoming the in-between time from when they don't want to eat, how to trigger a reaction bite, how to get those fish to try to eat, or maybe get one to react to something and maybe click off a light bulb in your head to say, hey, maybe I should try this instead or something. And then, obviously the guys that do really, really well at that can do that, and they can make a change depending upon how the fish react on certain situations with things. So that, I don't know. I guess you've probably thrown it. The hover rig thing now seems to be, I've been hearing a lot of guys been saying that, and maybe I guess it's just a presentation of what the bait does. Have you thrown it yet? The hover rig? Yeah. It seems to be doing something when they just, they used to, them fish don't want to bite right now. Now they're kind of like get a little bit more interested when they're not really wanting to feed.
What the hell's a hover rig?
It's a hook with like a little fiber weed guard that has like a nail weight around the hook molded into it, and you just hook your swim bait or whatever you want. No, there's you can use a bunch of different things with it. There's a bunch of different baits you can throw with it.
Sounds like a damn Damiki to me, though. I mean, what?
It kind of is.
So it's just somebody changed Damiki to hover as a marketing thing.
Yeah, but I think it reacts differently. I haven't thrown one. I was hoping Scott, when I said that, I was hoping Scott would say him or Clay has thrown it already.
In saltwater, they call it like a midweight hook. The weight's inside, the weight's on the shank of the hook, and so it's completely internal. It balances the bait a little differently.
Okay, so it ain't nothing. No, we're not reinventing the wheel with it. So okay, I got it.
It's probably not something that they've seen in freshwater before, but there is nothing new under the sun.
All right, well, I've not thrown it. So you've not thrown it, and Ryan wants to know about throwing it. So any of you guys in the comment section that have thrown it, lay it out there. I see a couple. The hook eye is further from the head. You fish the hover rig over the fish.
That's who it is. Just Google core tackle.
Core tackle has it. Okay, hover rig is a totally different thing. I guess from my comment about the Damiki. Again, and I've never thrown it, so I don't know. I've been fishing for trout. There's no hover rig for trout.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, exactly right. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
With technology, how much is too much when it comes to tournament fishing? If a guy wants to spend $50,000 to go out there and play, whatever, but in the tournament scenario, how much is too much?
Man, I guess if somebody has enough money and wants to spend it, and it's legal to utilize all that.
Yeah.
I mean, they can spend as much as they want, and the guy could have every piece of equipment in their boat, but it still doesn't mean they're going to catch them.
Right.
But, getting back to what we talked about turning the head away and so forth, I don't know if that's a benefit or not, because you think back before it was out, the technology was out. You pull up to a point or a brush pile and you'd fish it and you'd move to the next one and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So turning it away, I don't know if it's more psychological than anything to some people.
So how long you been running tournaments on Lanier?
Shoot, man, probably 15 years, 16 years.
So in 15 years, 16 years, you've seen the technology change.
Yes, a lot.
Now, the weights that are coming in these days, is that because of the technology as compared to when you were running it 10 years ago? Or is it just the anglers are better? Or a combination of both?
There's got to be a combination of both. But, Lanier specifically right now, I think that everybody knows it's the best spotted bass lake in the country.
No doubt. There's no doubt.
And at one point or certain points, you would think that, have we reached our peak? Is the lake going to turn? Is it going to start to fall? We're not going to see these weights. And the last 2 years, it has just continued to go. We've always seen big bags.
Right.
But we haven't seen as many big bags as we're seeing consistently with multiple anglers. Am I supposed to be looking there? Or
Hell, you can look at me,
Yeah,
baby. Listen, I don't know half the time.
I just realized that when I look, I'm on camera there. And
You're the
there's
mayor,
camera.
baby. You look
You
wherever
look
you
wherever the
want.
hell you
Yeah,
want.
my bad.
No, listen,
Okay.
no, you can look at me, but if you want to look, you're like, say hey to the wife. She
I
might
got
be
it.
watching.
I got it. Now
Yeah,
I got the camera.
listen.
Now I can talk.
But
So,
if you want to address them, you can look at the camera. If you want to address me, you can look at me, man. We do whatever.
Yeah.
We own this thing.
understand.
We
that.
own it, so we can do whatever we
Understand.
want. Let me ask you this. You've had some big names come to some of your tournaments.
Yeah.
And just a couple weeks ago. Tell everybody, if you didn't see it, tell everybody about the bags from your tournaments the last couple weeks.
Yeah. So we had the Turkey Bowl, right? And I think we had over 40 some odd boats, and it was remarkable to see our last tournament that we had a real deep heavyweight, of multiple 20-pound bags and higher was, I believe, back in March. We had 7 bags over 20 pounds.
Right.
This past Thanksgiving for the Turkey Bowl, we had 10 bags that were over 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is that used to a few years back, the 20-pound bag got the oohs and the ahs, like, ooh, those are big bags. Now it's more common, and it's like, well, there's 20 pounds. It's the new 18, right?
20 is the new 18.
It is.
Yes.
And so then you've got the 22, 23, 24-pound bags that are getting the oohs and ahs, and you're like, man, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And what's incredible is seeing that many anglers so deep into the weigh-in line and the list that's there, even below 20 pounds is a plethora of 19s, a plethora of 18s.
Yeah.
So the lake is so healthy right now, and over the last several years, I continue to scratch my head and question, when are we going to see it fall? And I hope it doesn't, but no one has that answer, right?
Yeah.
It keeps getting better.
Right.
It surprises me, and these anglers surprise me, like Alex Prince, Trevor Prince. Those guys are absolutely incredible. Emil, Brooks Anderson, all these young guns coming in to our tournaments. And in the past, what we've seen was that, I guess the average age was probably 27 to 50 years old. Those were the most common anglers age group that was there. Well, now that high school fishing has come in, college fishing, all this younger generation, the new technology, which I love to see. I think it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
I love to see the father-son teams out there. I love to see the younger kids to come to our events. And guys, let me say, my event is no better or bigger than any other event on Lake Lanier. And yes, I promote it, I think, a little bit more, and we get the permits and I post the results, so I get more exposure. When you have a high school tournament on Lake Lanier, an electric boat tournament on Lake Lanier, a 10-boat tournament on Lake Lanier, or whoever comes and runs an event, the same types of bags are being called at those events, just like my tournament. So it's not like you shouldn't ever hold us on a pedestal, right?
Right.
It's just the lake is just producing so many big bags right now that I think everybody maybe associates my tournaments as an elite group, and it's not. I'm a supercharged open tournament that I love to fish Lake Lanier. Been doing it for 16 years, and I want somebody. I want everybody to have something to fish, and it's open for anybody to come.
Yeah.
But the big names that come, Jordan Lee.
Yeah, I know
came
it.
with Kaz Anderson, and man, it was pretty special, to see
And
that.
didn't even win. I remember
Didn't win.
his little Facebook post, what do you have, 22?
22 something.
20. Did he cut a check?
He did. He got third place.
Third place. So,
Yeah.
but 22. That's kind of the thing about watching some of these Lanier tournaments. And if I was rolling up with 21 pounds, I would be like, yeah, I'm in the money. That doesn't guarantee you anything
Nothing.
these days.
Nothing. Me and Clay had 2384 back in March, our biggest bag. And we pulled under that bridge at Brown's Bridge, and I looked at Clay, and I said, I'm worried. And he said, you should be. It's Lake Lanier. And when we got back, 2387 beat us, and it was Reed Daniel and David Daniel, and by 3/100ths of an ounce. So you're never safe there.
Right.
It's just incredible. Like getting back to Trevor and Alex. These guys have a routine, I think, man. It's you got the top elite that continue to have these 23, 24 bounds. They got to be doing something different.
Gotta be. And I ain't figured it out yet.
But the day of our tournament, that Turkey Bowl, Tim had called me and said, "Hey, man, Trevor and Alex just stopped by the store and bought a dozen herring." And I scratched my head. I'm like, "We don't use live bait." He goes, "No, man, you don't get it. They were eating them. That's what they got for breakfast." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
If that helps,
I said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "Well, Emil's here. We're going to give it a try too." And there you go. The first and second team both had,
Is that what it is?
I guess so.
Is that what it is?
Special.
All right. Here's a question for both of you guys, Ryan and you, Scott. Well, let's see. Which one are you pulling up right there? I see the largemouth. We can answer that. In your tournaments right now, what's the ratio largemouth to spots?
I'm sorry.
What's the ratio of largemouth to spotted bass in your tournaments? Just a guess. I know you don't know exactly.
Yeah, probably, maybe if we weigh in 100 fish, I'd say 4%. We're going to see maybe 4.
I was going to say 95.5.
Yeah.
So y'all close.
It's 4% or less.
Yeah.
I have weighed so many fish at that lake, and in all of my events, it's just like springtime, you're going to see the largemouth weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Late February, you're going to see the largemouth weight. But still, even in those times when it's prime time, it's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
The spots are 5-pound class spots. You're seeing 6-pound class spots consistently now, where in the past it was a few being weighed in. Now there's more and more.
Yeah, it's pretty. And I definitely noticed the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually looking over the last couple of weeks when you had the guys that were kind of, 1 through 4. What you take the pictures. I was looking to see, are they holding up spots? Are they holding up largemouth? And they're just holding up footballs.
Yeah,
they're footballs.
Yeah. So I think I'm right. Alex and Trevor had one largemouth in their bag. Tim and Emil had the big bass of 6 pounds, 6 3/4 pound largemouth for their bag for second place. Then our last tournament that we had was the SEC Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. So I changed that event. We had planned to fish it on Saturday, but then I realized it was conflict because we had to schedule the Alabama-Georgia game.
Listen, you cannot schedule a tournament on that championship day of college football.
I sat there and I said, heck, I'm going to go ahead and have this thing. And then I realized, the weather's nasty. We got the game. I'm not going to have a lot of participants come out. We'll just put it off till Sunday.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let the game be done. And we had some great bags at the Turkey Bowl. We're expecting some great bags at this tournament, but we only had like 28 boats.
Yeah. So
what was amazing is when I got there and everybody registered, we got out there to start off, I noticed the lake had probably risen like a foot to foot and a half. And I'm like, man, it didn't rain that much. I know it didn't rain that much. Did you notice that the water was up on Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I finally figured out what it was.
What was it?
It was the tears of all the Georgia
fans.
That
My
filled
God.
the lake.
Oh,
what did
we had a great event.
What did I say?
Are you a Bama fan?
Man, I'm neither.
I
I love to watch football,
like,
but I'm not a guy. What I really like to watch is the fighting on Facebook.
Oh, Lord.
That's a better game than the football game itself.
Oh, my God.
He's a troll. That's what he's saying.
That's exactly right.
Do you remember what I said to you Sunday when I come up there and paid you?
What'd you say?
I don't know if you remember what I said, but I said, boy, I said, there's a hand. It was 6:35, I think. I was one of we were boat 24, so I was one of the last few boats to pay. And Stephen Barday was a little late.
I remember Stephen.
The hell he shows up in the comments. Listen, he's in the comment section again. Stephen, hush. Georgia fans were licking their wings. Oh my God.
But you remember I told you, I said, looks like you got a handful that would normally be here that are not, because they're diehard Georgia fans, and they didn't want to come today.
Listen, I got to be honest. It's gonna sound bad. I'm a Tech fan.
Are you?
My dad raised me a Tech fan, and I'm used to losing. So, but I like good football. I mean, like, I'm used to losing, so it goes right along with my tournament fishing and all that. But there was a question, and I want both of you guys to kind of chime in on this. Go back up. It was about the lake level. Somebody said, you know which one I'm talking about? right there.
Bingo.
John B. right there.
Is that the real John B?
I don't know. Are you the real John B?
They don't,
Mr.
nobody,
Google?
they don't nobody listen to anything I say.
Do you think them? I know. No, I will say this.
Don't listen to nothing I say.
If you've listened to us over the past
Scott knows
forever, you've heard Ryan's opinion on this. So I know Ryan's opinion when it comes to dropping lake. So we'll start off with Scott, and then we'll finish with you. Do you think them dropping the lake will improve the fishing?
I remember the past, and I remember when the lake was like 19 feet down, we had to pour concrete at Charleston Park because you couldn't put your boats in.
Right.
That was several years back.
Yeah.
And that was really, really good fishing. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I'm sure everybody has a theory, but I think you're going to see more largemouth come into play with the lake dropping.
Yep.
And I think you're going to have a comfort zone of guys that were fishing that didn't like to fish 50 feet of water that's now going to be fishing 38 feet of water or 40 feet of water, and that's more of a comfort zone for them. But they're still in areas that it would be 50, feet, depending on if you're a deep fisherman, shallow fisherman, or you do both. But I think it's going to be improved. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ryan. Pontificate one more time on this.
Just don't bloviate.
Just don't bloviate. Don't take forever, but pontificate. That's a big word for you, but
when in the wintertime specifically in the past, when Lanier is down, the wintertime fishing is absolutely outstanding. You will find areas where you can sit there and catch 50, 60 all day long. They just congregate better. And to my point of what I've been saying for a while now is the problem that I've been seeing over the past several years with the lake just constantly being full all year long.
yeah, I've heard you say
Even in the wintertime, everybody thinks all fish go deep in the wintertime. That is absolute baloney, garbage, crap. They do not. They absolutely do not. There are fish that are happy living in less than 5 feet of water all year long.
Year round.
When we have a full lake up in the winter, especially in December, they can be anywhere. And they're so hard to find when, finding good fish here, finding good fish there. Maybe you catch one shallow here. Maybe you catch one deep here. And you think you're going to start getting onto something and then pump the brakes and it's not. It was just a one-off or a two-off. Now with the lake being down and continually going down, these fish are going to only have a certain amount of places that they can really congregate around.
Right.
And, of course, the big one, ditches going in around timber lines. Those are the two big ones. But, you're going to start seeing fish that want to live shallow and want to be around structure. They won't be able to go live up there in that blowdown because that blowdown's out of the water. So what are they going to do? They're going to do like what happened to us, me and Steven Sunday. We found a dock that was just absolutely slap loaded with fish. And there was nothing on the dock, but they were there.
Just relating.
They were just relating to the structure.
Relating to that structure that was there.
So you're going to be able to kind of narrow down what all you can fish into a few things. And when you can narrow down structure and especially in the wintertime, when you can narrow down structure to a handful of things only, you're going to, I know I've heard Scott talk about this before, the percentages, you're going to have a higher success rate.
Yeah.
You're going to have a better catch rate because you don't have to, are they over there? Because they've been doing, no, they've only got a handful of things really to be in.
Kind of like on Altoona.
Yeah.
Or like Notley, any of them lakes they pull down.
Yeah.
They got to congregate to certain things.
Yeah.
I want to say hello. Pull the comments up just a little bit right there. Shop Life. So he's from North Carolina. I just want to, first of all, I haven't seen that name in the comment section, so I want to thank you for joining us tonight. He's doing his part to put in some structure up there. They don't have any offshore structure in the lake that he fishes for, but they've got the spots.
Which is definitely not Lake Norman, apparently.
It's not Norman. No, not Norman is what he says. But I just want to thank you for joining us tonight. When you say largemouth too, we've always talked about this. You and I have had this conversation that if it would stay low into the spring and get some of that grass to grow, it gives the largemouth fry a little more places to hide when it does come back up, because people don't realize this blueback herring are terrible bass fry. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured you would. You're smart. I've had some guests, somebody looking like, I didn't know that. I figured you would know that.
They compete for spawning grounds too.
They do, yeah, absolutely. Guys, I want to tell you here in about 25 minutes, we're going to do the question of the night. The winner of that is going to get a $50 discount code to our new sponsor, Option Fluorocarbon. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you need to know something about the movie Spaceballs. Okay, Spaceballs. You got to know something about the movie Spaceballs. We've got a question. So that's going to be
Spaceballs, the trivia question.
Spaceballs, a trivia question. And I don't know if it's going to be the most difficult question we've ever asked on here, but it is going to be about Spaceballs and all that. What's the difference in fishing for spots and largemouths? Danny Elrod wants to know, and I'll let you answer that.
Well, on Lanier, all I can speak on is my personal, past and knowledge is that the percentages of, I just told you that 4% weighed in. So I think you got a less population, but you got to target those fish. If you want to really go out to largemouth, you got to target them. However, sometimes you could be fishing on the main lake and catch one of your biggest fish.
Didn't you have a monster largemouth a couple years ago?
I was about to say, this guy sitting over here, he's like, I just got a 10-pound largemouth.
How much did that largemouth weigh?
This is the God's honest truth, and I'll tell you exactly where I caught it and what I caught it on and how it went down was that Ryan Hanks and myself was fishing a tournament that Keith Teague used to run. He had a little trail called 5x3. And we put in at Van's Tavern, and man, it was raining really bad. And instead of running out and going down, on the big water, I said, I'm just going to turn right outside of Van's and go back here in 2 Mile. And there's the little S turn, that's right there with the buoy marker before you, not too far from the ramp. And literally we started there just because I didn't want to run down south because it was raining so bad. Pull my mic up.
Someone's asked you to speak.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, they want to hear your beautiful voice.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. There you go. All right.
So basically, it was a total fluke without a doubt. Ryan and I were fishing tournament. Like the third cast with a spinner bait, I threw up there and reeling it in. One hit. I said, man, I think this is a pretty good fish. And when it come up, I was just floored. I'm like, my God, how big is this thing? He got it in the net. We put it in there. I think I waited on some old scales. I don't remember the name of them, but it was like 10 something. I'm like, man, is this right? And it was a huge ass fish. And I put it in the live well. And I'm like, nothing else is going to go in this live well except this fish.
It's a big one.
Yeah. So that was purely luck, 100%. I did not target.
Wasn't it raining?
It was raining.
If I remember your picture, I had to go back and go look at
it.
But you were drenched. But you're smiling.
Totally drenched. But here's the thing.
Pure luck.
This is where it contradicts what I said about the percentage of largemouth being weighed in at tournaments.
Right.
The guys that won that tournament was Chuck DeLorme and Sam Harris, and they had 5 largemouth. And guys, this may have been 7-8 years ago, I believe. Okay. They had 5 largemouth for 24, 25 pounds. And they were triggered that morning. And yes, they were raining, but I promise you, I did not target any of those fish, pre-fished for them or nothing. It was luck 100% on that fish.
Yeah, but you know
that's
what?
Part of it.
Yeah, it is part of it.
And that's what makes it fun.
That's how my tournaments, that's how me and Clay actually fish our tournaments. We're on a 19, 18-pound bag right now. We're worm fishermen and we're jig fishermen. And I'll get into a little bit of that in a little while, but we bounce around. And I think a lot of these guys that are catching these monster sacks, they may do the same. I think we're all guilty sometimes as tournament anglers when we're out there and we do bring a 20-pound bag in and you feel good with it and you see the 22, 23, 24. And maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes I think we're guilty of going back and thinking too deep, like, man, I wonder what those guys did. Because we're all thinking it. What are they doing different? You are. Is it a bait? Is it a location? Is it something very, very specific that they're doing? And I think that has some truth behind it. What I do, and I can only speak for myself, is we're primarily, our best bags have come off a worm and jig, and we bounce around. We literally have about 4 or 5 places that we like to start seasonal. In the winter, we've got 2 or 3 prime areas that we go to. It's because our history, we've caught big fish there. And we don't catch them there every tournament, but it's a high percentage of where we've caught fish in the past that big fish are that we'll go back and hit those places. And then later in the day, maybe come back and catch another big one. Or we don't.
Right.
But I don't know what these guys are doing to catch them monster sacks. But when you see the videos out there from like a Jordan Lee that had just been on the lake for a week and come out and had a 22-pound bag, and he's throwing over timber, and he's watching the fish. I mean, I didn't see any fish in the video when he threw that bait out. Have y'all seen that video?
I have seen that video. Yes.
So as you see the bait drop, and I'm talking the one in the timber, not the one where there's a couple videos.
Right.
So the one in the timber, he cast out this little Berkeley bait. It's probably similar to the hover rig that you're talking about. I don't know. Somebody will comment and let us know. But as that bait drops and it starts to go down, you'll see nothing on the screen but just timber. And you'll see 3 or 4 start to come out
of that timber.
And then 6 or 7 will come
out of that timber.
Out of the same patch. And then all of a sudden he sets his hook, and as he's reeling them in, 15 come out of the daggum thing.
Yeah.
So how many fish are truly living deep? A lot of them. How many are fishing shallow? A ton of them. Question is, how do you trigger that fish to bite, right?
You're Jordan Lee.
You gotta be Jordan Lee. But, talking about, the past tournament that we had, you start to realize that the crowd's younger.
Yeah, it is.
And who won that tournament was Paul Driscoll. And Paul's name has been on Lanier
for a while.
He's won a ton, right?
How come we haven't got him on the show?
Paul may not come on.
He probably won't. I know there's some old timers.
He's a heck of a guy.
Listen, I know there's some old timers that say that. Like,
did he even speak to hardly anybody Sunday?
So that's just typical Paul, and you got to know him.
Paul, if you're watching this, I would love to sit down and talk with you for a while. So
he's awesome, man. Really is. Him and Greg Howley fished it, but I was glad to see that. Right?
Is that Finn Twins' dad?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you got these young guns coming. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I call everybody 25 years and less kids, and I don't mean that disrespectful. I'm used to it. You're grown men, I get that, but I just call you guys
if
kids.
You're younger
who was
than
that
me,
who fished with his son? Didn't they get third, or was it the third or fourth?
What's for the past tournament that we had?
Yeah, this past weekend. Who was it fish with their son? Because they won that.
Somebody did fish.
They won that extra little thing that you do.
The Hammonds bag.
Yeah.
All right. So that team we give a gift bag out at every tournament for a father and son that fish together, or 2 kids or what have you. And what was so special about that was that that was their first tournament that they fished with us.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I'll say it, some people are either intimidated to come up there and fish our group, or either they feel like I'm not going to go donate and waste money because the same 10 people are always in the top 10. But, these guys come out and you've got a father-son team. I guess he was probably 8 or 9 years old, but
he was young.
They literally weighed in 2 fish for like 3 pounds total.
Yeah.
And man, you got to give that up for them. That's awesome for them to do that and have a great day and come out and spend the day.
Yeah.
But they also seen what the lake can produce, and maybe they'll come back. And
it can
continue.
inspire them.
It should inspire them.
Inspire them.
But back to Paul.
Yeah, back to Paul.
That man come in and weighed 22.
Hey, Paul.
That man came in and weighed 22 pounds, right?
Yeah, right.
So it was good to see, because nothing against the young guns, but it's almost like they have been taking over and over and coming in, and they're making a name for themselves, which is absolutely awesome.
Got to get the old school.
So Paul came in, but he's got a routine too. He wakes up in the morning. He takes 2 Viagra. He drinks a Red Bull, smokes a pack of cigarettes, then drinks a cup of coffee, and then gets in the truck and comes to the tournament. But he won't get out of his truck. He has a bad leg. Seriously, he does. He broke his foot several years back. I don't know how, but awesome guy and can flat out catch him.
2 Viagra, my Lord! I'm not even going to tell you, but I know what that will do. Derek O wants to know, if we see a pro on the lake, do we want you guys to try to invite them to be on the show? Heck yeah! You guys out there watching, if you see somebody that you think would be interesting on this podcast, by all means, you guys have our permission to extend the invitation. And if they say yes to you, get in touch with us. We will put anybody on this show. I mean, look what's sitting beside me right now. We got Scott. I mean, it was a slow week here, so the best we could do was to get Scott on it.
That's right. But I know who you're talking about now. You're talking about Randy Dover and Bryson Dover. They placed third. And see, that's awesome to see as well. You got Randy that's been on the lake for years. won a ton of money and done a lot there. And now his son's in it. And they had third place and barely,
19 something.
Yeah. I
They only had two bags
they had
over 20
something. They had 21. They had 21 pounds. Hell, they may have got second.
Hell, I had fished an entire month and I had 20
I think
pounds
they got
right
second, to be honest with you.
Uh,
21 pounds.
I know there was another question. What's up, Brett Matthews? I know there was another question up higher, but let's go ahead with Connor Hewitt's right there because it's about the same thing. It's about jig fishing. When you're fishing a jig, what do you target shallow in the winter with a jig? Like if you're going to throw a jig in the wintertime, what are you targeting?
So a few things, and forward-facing sonar certainly has helped out. So I try to look for stumps. I try to look for something off the points, rock, obviously as well. But we'll pull up to a point. I'll throw to the left. Clay throws to the right. Then we throw down the middle. We'll make 4 or 5 casts, and that can be with a crankbait first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what's everybody probably has it or has been fishing these tournaments and have forward-facing sonar is that you can throw up there and see fish with a crankbait, and maybe it'll trigger them. But there's nothing wrong with backing that up and throwing a worm or a jig up there.
Yeah.
Because that may be something that they trigger on. And you're not going to see every fish that's up there.
Right.
So you try to do it quick, try to do it fast, and then move on to your next.
But you're hitting something specific.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you see a stump,
Mm-hmm.
jig. See a big rock or something, jig.
Yep.
Just something like that, brush pile. Ryan, I'll let you answer that question, jig man. What do you target in the wintertime, or do you even throw a jig in the winter?
Jig, man.
I know you throw a jig in the winter.
That's
Spinnerbait, man.
so here's a little thing. And Scott can know this. I don't really come fish Scott's tournaments. So I just, it's not my cup of tea.
Mhm.
No offense to you, but no means you run a great thing. I've come fish with you a couple times, but we came and fished this past Sunday. The week before last, I had a hell of a thing going on a jig. We had me and Barday had one really, really good day last week. And then I went back a couple days later and had another really, really, really good day on a jig. So I kind of was like, he was really wanting to come over there and come fish with you guys. And I said, well, I know several of them. I was like, they're all a great group of guys. Sure, why not? We'll just go over there and we'll go see if our side of the dice will roll over again. And of course it didn't. Not to say that we didn't try.
It do be that way.
Well,
Well, what the hell did you do with the jig? Did you throw a jig?
Yeah, threw a jig. Yeah, we threw a jig, and
Well,
that was primarily what we caught. What we've been catching them on. I'm just I'm a little hurt right now.
He's hurt.
I'm a little hurt right now. I had a jig fail me Sunday.
Uh-oh.
So it failed me at the wrong time. So it failed me when I got the big bite.
How'd it fail?
The hook broke.
Not.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah,
Must
the
have been one I
hook
tied.
But Scott will know what I'm talking about when I say this. There's no doubt what it was, because it was got it around a stump, and it was the take off with it type thing, like it wanted it, and all I could do was just pull up, and it broke. And when we reeled it back in, the hook was gone. The hook was broke.
But
That happens.
I think the lake is so healthy, and I know I keep bringing it up that 10 pounds or 20 pounds or higher is great bags, 19 pounds, 18 pound bags. But you take those top 15 teams, and there's a lot of those teams that caught them on the same bait, and there's a lot of teams that you'd be surprised that not one bait's working for them, not just shallows working for them.
Right.
They're bouncing around. They're catching a few shallow, they're catching a few deep, and they have to continue to bounce around, right?
Are you hungry,
Get some
Tim?
wings.
No.
He's stealing my
Paul Driscoll's daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Cigarettes there.
I'll get him in his cigarettes. Hey, listen, Mason. All right, first of all, I want to say hello to my cousin Scott Nicholson's out there. He said, "How's it going, cuz? Dude, I ain't seen you in a while. Everything's good.
That's
Hope you and your
funny.
family are doing good.
Macy,
Glad you're watching."
Macy, tell him to leave the Viagra at home, though. Just he come with the cigarettes. We'll be good.
Yeah, I don't need no stiffies around here. He can smoke all he wants to, but he's not gonna sit over there happy smiling at me while he's doing that.
Won't be able to get close enough to the
But hey, Macy, listen. talk to him and see if you can get. I'd love to get him on here and talk. I'd talk to anybody.
You need
So
an
that'd be-
ashtray.
I can get an ashtray. Do they still make ashtrays?
I think
Yeah.
You remember they used to be back in the day. You went to every restaurant. It didn't matter where you was at. You had ashtrays.
We'll make sure we get one of them like blowed glass,
Like a nice.
1970s
Listen,
model.
we could go up to
from when you and Scott were kids, the
Listen,
neon
did you hear
green
what he
blowed
just
glass
said?
Here comes
one.
the
when,
age
when
stuff.
you and I were
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
I bet what is that place you take your clothes to that you can buy? Hell, they got one in Dawsonville coming.
Dry cleaner?
Goodwill. I bet you if you go back in the Goodwill section back there where they got all the, we can find an ashtray.
I'll stop by one day after work next week and see if I
Listen,
can't find
if we
one.
put an ashtray right here and just say, Paul Driscoll, we got your ashtray. Basically, see if you can make that happen for us. But again, thank you for watching tonight like that. Pull up Jonathan McLean. And listen, guys, if I missed your question, type it again. We're going really fast, but let's pull up this.
John McClane, Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie.
Oh, damn. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yeah. Yeah, get up on top of Nakatomi Tower,
Nakatomi.
Scott, look on Scott's face right now. He was like,
Yippee-ki-yay!
boy, you just
Oh,
butchered
man.
that.
Here we go.
Yippee-ki-yay! All right, okay. What kind of stocking program does Georgia do on Lanier? I don't think it does it?
Stripers.
Stripers, not when it comes to bass.
Yeah, stripers.
Now-
I really don't know.
I don't think they do on the spot.
Stripers, white bass, and walleye. That's about
Okay.
the only thing they put in the lake.
He's on Smith Lake over there. They say it's to keep the bluebacks in check. Not a fan of those freshwater sharks. How the hell did bluebacks get in Lanier?
That's
Does
unfortunate.
anybody know? Do you
I don't
know? I will say this.
How did the bluebacks get in Lanier?
Yeah,
They were placed illegally.
that's what I'm saying. So they weren't stocked.
No.
Somebody. Well, okay. So let me.
There's
ask
only
where'd they
like,
come from?
there's only one. Okay, there's only one lake. There's only one lake that they like specifically put blueback herring in on purpose,
What's that?
and that was on Hartwell. Hartwell's the only lake
I didn't know
that
that.
they specifically put blueback herring.
Okay, guys, listen.
In.
Bruce Willis says it's not a Christmas movie.
What does he know?
whatever. He don't know nothing.
Well, he don't now because he's sick. So we got to be careful with that. 'cause-
Oh, is he sick?
yeah, he's got dementia or something like that.
Oh,
I hate
he's
that.
old.
What's Jeremiah say right there?
Jig question. I stay on the finesse flipping jig side. But what's y'all's preference this time of year on the head shape? Football, finesse, arky.
For
I
me,
I throw an arky.
yeah, I throw a casting head.
That's arky.
That's an arky.
Yeah,
Arky.
arky. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're arky.
That's it.
Hell, yeah.
Scott, if you could, Connor Hewitt wants to know, run us down on your setup.
On the jig.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So I got two. One's on a bait caster, and believe it or not, one's on a spinning rod.
Ooh.
Use 1/4 ounce on a spinning rod,
Okay.
and it's Georgia blade,
Mhm.
peanut butter and jelly, and then on the 3/8 for the bait caster is peanut butter and jelly for. That's peanut butter and jelly. That's it. Yeah. I mean, that's
Well,
it.
he throws some peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, that's
So-
basically it, and I'm comfortable with it. I think a lot of times that you have confidence in something, right?
Yeah.
Brian's got his favorite, you got your favorite, I got mine,
Yeah.
and Clay's got his. But whatever you're confident with, you can go out and throw it.
Do you know, and this is just from being in the business, and Ryan can back me up on this, the United States is the only country where peanut butter jig material is sold.
I didn't know that.
We're the only ones that fish with it. Like there's not, right? I mean, we're the only ones that will tie
So-
up jigs with peanut butter and jelly. It's not, nobody else cares about it.
So 1,000% of all peanut butter and jelly jig material that is made, whether it be in the United States or in Vietnam or China, comes to the United States. It
Yep.
does not go anywhere else.
Nobody else in the world throws peanut butter and jelly
I
but
had
us.
no idea.
Yeah.
We didn't either.
We didn't either until about a year and a half ago.
Interesting.
We learned those little things. Kind of like what you commented on the other night when you was watching about the unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I got that newsletter and it said straight up, when the economy is overheated and overheated meaning that production is not keeping up with demand.
Okay.
People don't spend money on fishing lures or line or anything. When unemployment's high, they spend money on fishing stuff. And it's just those little facts like that. It just kind of makes you shake your head. Like same thing with the peanut butter and jelly. Like it makes no sense. You would think if it worked here, it'd work elsewhere.
Yeah.
You think in Japan where all the fishing stuff's
And
coming from.
is that based on tackle sales,
Tackle
or,
sales.
or license sales, or both?
Tackle sales. So this was an industry newsletter that I get,
Okay.
and they're forecasting into 2024, and they're kind of down on 2024 right now because their unemployment's low.
Well, I thought about that after I sent that comment.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm on the wrong track here, but I could see maybe why that is. And my theory is that take tournament fishing out of that topic, what you just said.
Yeah, we're just fun fishing.
And talk about fun fishing and the percentages of people that when money's good and everything's rolling, they're going out to eat, they're going to the ball games, they're going out bowling, they're going out and spending money on that type of entertainment. When things tighten up, what's pretty affordable to do?
Poor man fish.
What's affordable to do?
Right.
Take a kid fishing, right?
Yep.
So maybe that's why there is an increase.
That's as good of a reason as
Right.
anything. Because I saw that newsletter and I had to read it like 5 times.
Yeah.
And in my head try to process it. It didn't make no sense to me.
I don't know the details.
I have to see. I'd like to see the numbers.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the numbers. I'm sure that. All right. So before I do this question of the week, did I miss any? Are there any questions that I need to get to before we do this?
Barday likes Picasso.
Barday's always like Picasso.
Derek
Put the camera on me.
Do you
put the
guys use living? Okay, Ryan, putting the camera
Ryan
on
wants
him.
the camera.
Living rubber. Go.
No, not living rubber.
Not
I'll
living-
answer the living rubber too, but I'm just gonna say this:
Yeah, I have.
the Picasso, little spotty jig, that bitch is something else.
Oh my gosh!
Because
Good.
that
night.
thing has probably put not
That
by
thing banging.
me,
It
not
is-
by
it-
me,
It is a good jig.
not
It
by
is.
me.
It's a great jig.
That thing has probably put over 30 fish in the boat in the past 2 weeks.
Oh, you went over to the dark side.
No,
You
not
gonna start
by
rooting
me.
you're not gonna root for Bama
Not me.
by Barday.
No, Barday. So the day me and Barday went out and had about 17, 18 pounds or so, he spanked my ass on a little spotty. I caught like 11 fish on a true grit jig. He put over 20 in the boat on a Picasso little spotty.
Now, is it the jig or is it the fisherman?
I think it's the jig.
You think so?
He,
Well, there you go.
that jig is
Wow.
this small.
You talking about because it's finesse?
That jig is this small.
Now, do you think that'll work year round or just now? Just
Barday
right
says
now?
that's the only jig he throws primarily.
He's
See,
a
I-
Bama fan.
I've got a theory with that as well that, I think we complicate things too much.
Now, you do say that.
I think we overcomplicate things way too much. Because
Yeah.
if you take that top 10 team or top 15 team, they all didn't have the same brand damn jig. They all didn't have the same color jig. They
Right.
all didn't have the same crankbait or what have you.
Yeah,
You got to go out and fish. You got to.
that's true.
You got to go
Yeah.
feel what's confident with it and
I got you.
be the right areas.
I got you. What trailer did y'all use? What do you use?
Cinnamon black.
I think everybody's that cinnamon
yeah.
black Yamamoto.
Yamamoto.
Yeah. Is there any other
That's it.
color?
That's it.
You only need 2 colors of that trailer. You need a green pumpkin and a cinnamon black.
Cinnamon
You
black
don't really
flake,
need
man.
another
That's
one.
all. I got some coming here. I got an order for those. All right, so here's what we're gonna do right now. Especially where I got a good amount of people watching. All right, this is the question of the week. The winner will be the first person that we see in the comment section with the right answer. And if you win, you're going to get $50 towards a purchase at optionfluorocarbon.com. Now, listen, December 18th is when their new freshwater line comes out. So if you order tomorrow, you're going to order some tuna stuff, and I don't think you're going to need it for anything around here. But December 18th, so you can hold on to this, and you can get in touch with us after the show. Yeah, I whistled. After the show, and we'll get you that discount code. All right, so here's the question. Okay, Spaceballs.
The movie.
The movie. What's the name of John Candy's character in the movie Spaceballs? All right, this is one that Scott picked out, I think. Didn't you?
Yeah,
you told me
I
the answer.
helped with
He's
that.
his
All right.
own best friend.
He's his own best friend right there. So we're going to be watching the comment section right here.
There's Phil.
Oh, good Lord.
That took
All right,
2
so-
seconds.
Barf.
Barf. Phil Hutchinson, you win the $50. You win it. And now listen, I've been known to call this wrong. Paul, you make the official call. Who won?
All right. The first name that I see in the comment section is Phil.
Okay. And I want to give you guys that are watching on Facebook, a little bit of advice because we're going to start doing this question of the week every week for Option. If you're watching on YouTube, the answer gets in faster than if you're watching on Facebook. If you're typing on Facebook, we'll probably get some Facebook answers maybe like that. But if you're watching on YouTube, it never fails.
We'll be
always,
2 topics down the line, and all of a sudden Facebook somebody 10 minutes from now will go barf. So, all right, congratulations, Phil. I will get with you in the next day or two with that discount code. And again, thank you guys for playing. And again, thank you for Opson for sponsoring that and for sponsoring the live well, as well as all of our sponsors right there. So we're about halfway through, and I'm going to kind of give you the opportunity to where do you want to go with this conversation? Do you have anything that you want to bring up and discuss as far as tournaments, Lanier, whatever?
Let's get spicy. Scott.
Let's get spicy.
Come on, Scott.
Spicy?
Let's get spicy.
Well,
We like spicy. It gets us in trouble.
I think from a tournament perspective is that I won't spend much time on it. Everybody knows that my tournament is an open tournament. We have 17 events probably through the year.
Yeah.
And we have some good participation and some really good anglers that come out, and the newcomers that come, we welcome them. Love to see people participate and have fun and have something to do,
Yeah.
I exclusively do it on the air just because, as you know, I'm a grandfather, and but even prior to that,
Daddy.
even prior to that, I just, I didn't like to travel as much. Some people do. And even when I ran the events, I knew that I would come into conflict with other trails, the BFL, the Skeeter, and all that. But as long as I had something on there and I wanted to run the events and I could fish the events and people would still come, it just gives, the community something to do.
Yeah.
And we've always had that participation. But from a spicy standpoint, I guess we could talk about, where the fish are now, what the plans are to, transition, February, March, and what they're doing now. You're seeing a lot bigger bags right now, and I think that you're going to see more bags coming that are going to be bigger.
Yeah. Right
before the spawn. That February, March, I think is going to bust some records.
Okay,
really
we're going to get into that. I got a couple comments I want to hit. All right, Shop Life. We're going to get to your question right there. So pull up his question. Actually, pull up Scratch Fishing first.
You got a bunch of
jig
questions.
We got jig. We're gonna stick on it right now. Now, will the question of the week always be geared towards movies 36 years old? No, but in the spirit of that, next week's question is going to be about the movie Bull Durham. We'll do one more old movie. So you got to know something next week, next Thursday, about the movie Bull Durham, which is by far the best baseball movie ever made, and that's my favorite sport. So that's what we're going to go with. But
I will not win next week's question of the week.
You will not what?
I will not win next week's question of the week.
You've never watched Bull Durham?
Never in its entirety.
Rose goes in the front, big guy. Just remember that. That's all you got to remember. Rose goes in the front, big guy. When you're throwing a 1/4 ounce jig, what pound test you using?
10.
10.
I'm throwing,
and that's on your spinning rod.
Correct.
Why?
And then I want to know, you braid the fluoro on that?
Yeah, I braid the fluoro.
And
I run
10.
a little bit longer leader though. I mean, I don't know what the typical leader is, but I try to run about 20 feet on my line.
Ooh, that is a long.
No, we got to answer this. We got to ask this question though. Why?
Why 10?
Yeah.
Why 10?
Why 10 for you?
No specific reason. I just fish a shaky head on 10-pound test, and that's a 3/16 or a 1/8, maybe a 1/4 a little bit deeper, but it's always been 10-pound. I feel like that with my setup, with a medium heavy, with a fast tip, I have better feel with 10-pound. I know people that use 15-pound, and they catch fish just as well. But I don't know if I guess because I'm primarily, shallow fisherman.
Yeah.
And
Derek White says because 10-pound is the best.
It's 10 pounds the best. There you go. That's the best answer I can give.
Because 10's the best.
Somebody else may have a different theory.
10's about. I go 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just depends. What knot are you guys using with your terminal tackle? Now I'm just a straight. Now if it's terminal, I just use the improved clinch. Anybody else do anything different? Whatever the hell they call it, where you go, you spin it, you stick the line through, and you stick it back through. Pull it tight. That's clinch knot, right? Improved clinch knot. That thing never fails. I don't know why you got to have 1,800 other knots. Just tie it down clinch knot.
It's either an Albright or a Aberdeen. I can't even remember. I tie it so often. I don't remember.
What do you go braid the floor? What do you use?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about. I'm talking about on the jig.
I just use a polymer.
You do
everything exclusively. I use a polymer knot on every single thing. It's the easiest one to tie.
Okay, all right.
It's the
I
best.
got
It's
that.
the best knot, like Derek just said.
Is that the polymer is the best knot?
I use a polymer knot on everything.
You know what? I hate the polymer knot. Not because it's not a good knot, because when I'm trying to drop shot or something, I can't never tie that joker to where my worm is dead straight. Oh, good. Yes, Barday polymer.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you had something in with it.
I
Oh,
have something in common.
you and Ryan, now y'all all in bed with Barday.
It's easy. It's quick. And
It is.
It
It
has
is.
something down.
I know. I'm just joking because you fish with it. Oh yeah, the live rubber, living rubber. Hell, see, that's the way we go here. We fly through questions. We forget what we're supposed to talk about. Real quick, living rubber.
Have you used living rubber?
I have in the past, but see, I used to get them from Terry Penley.
Yeah.
Bless his soul.
Yeah, bless his soul. And there was a time that Georgia Blade had them. They still may have them today. I think they do. But
He's got some.
That material ran out for a while, and he started using silicone. I don't know if one's better than the other. I know there's different actions with it for sure, but
it spreads a little bit more, right, Ryan?
Yeah. So
it spreads.
So living rubber
can of worms is open.
So living rubber kind of like when you throw a living rubber jig, you need to imagine it as you throw it out there. When it hits the bottom, the best way to describe it is it just basically goes bleh, and it just opens up like this.
It goes what now? Say that again.
It just goes bleh, like that, and it just basically opens up very slowly, just like this. And when you look at it in a fish tank, like an aquarium tank, and it's sitting out there, you can see the jig head and the keeper and the grub inside there, because everything is all around and it's all just kind of crazy. However, it works really well for some people. They like to use it. It works really, really well though, the best in really, 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 really cold conditions.
Yeah, in the wintertime.
Because you can literally throw that out there, let it hit the bottom, and you basically can almost barely move the jig. You can barely impart any kind of action into the jig yourself, because it just does what it wants to do down there very subtly.
Yeah.
And just sitting there, that living rubber just kind of sits there and moves
the
water, and you don't actually have to hop it too much to give it too much crazy action.
I was gonna say, Mike showed up.
Yeah, Mike shows up.
Mr. Georgia Blade.
But
yeah, frog hair living rubber too. I don't know what frog. I guess that's a finer living rubber.
Yeah.
Does that sound right? Frog hair living rubber.
Yeah, it's Mike can probably give maybe if he feels like it, he can give a much better explanation of the frog hair. But I don't use living rubber jigs. I just, for me, it's no matter where I go, no matter what time of year it is, I'm pretty much throwing one of two jigs, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
But it does. I will say this, because you've tied some living rubber here before, and we put it in the tank and all that.
Can't stand.
Bring that baby on over here. There we go. Got another fine Edwa meatery product right here. It does. It opens up, and then as the water currents, it will. How about this word, Ryan? You like these? Undulate.
Undulate.
It undulates.
Oh, that's a good word.
Is that a word?
Are you making fun of my emulate?
No. You say emulate, and I said undulate.
That's what we're always trying to do. That's what all we do is try to emulate.
We emulate the undulate of living rubber.
Okay.
There we go. We're on the same page. But hey, Mike Shepard, thank you for watching tonight, guys. Barday says, how many tentacles does a crayfish have? So is he saying something there about living rubber? Is that what he is saying right there? That living rubber, like
Barday, you leave it in the comment section if you want me to reveal a secret from this past Sunday and the last time we fished too, on what catches, what your opinion on what really catches fish.
I will say this, like I think,
but I won't say it unless you say I can.
Autocorrect. He's autocorrect right there. I will say this, that he whether it's hand tied or band, I have heard Barday say, fish the fish can't tell whether it's hand tied jig or not. If it's banded, he don't care. I have heard him say that. So Shop Life wants you to reveal it.
He said, "Bring it,
bring it." Go
Barday
ahead.
Said, "Bring it,
bring it." Let's bring it.
Barday. So the main reason at the time that we kind of Sunday that we actually did weigh in our 13.5 pounds was because I didn't really know potentially what big fish would be. We had one that was a shade over 5.
Mm-hmm.
but it was big fish was 543, and you asked me, was it 5.5? And I said no. I said it's a little barely over 5, but so you didn't even weigh it, but he caught that thing on a Ned rig.
I'm telling you.
And he caught it on a Ned rig, and he caught it in about 4 foot of water.
Amen. Listen, I've had more people make fun of me because I throw a Ned rig. And I'm like, listen.
You're comfortable with it,
Listen,
right? You're confident.
The little thing catches fish.
Sure it does.
Now, I'd rather throw a wacky worm. I'm a wacky guy.
Now,
But that Ned rig will catch fish.
Now, if Barday will ever come on the show, he can tell the story better. But Barday is actually the reason why Bill Payne throws an Ned rig.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well, good for you,
He told me a
Barday.
big old long story Sunday on why Bill
Oh,
Payne
life
throws a
stories.
Ned rig.
I can see it now. Barday sitting there in his overalls. It was a sunny day.
That dude wears his overalls.
Have you ever seen Barday without overalls on?
No.
Was that the first time you met him Sunday, or have you met
I've met
him
him a
before?
couple times. before.
Okay.
And he had
I don't know if
overalls
you
on
had
every
him.
single time, don't
He's
he?
just massively big.
He is a
man.
big-
But everybody is big.
But his other half is the better part of that thing.
I made the comment.
He outpunted
I made
his
the
coverage.
comment to Barday when we were walking over there to go pay Sunday. I was like, Scott thinks he's probably about to get mugged.
Yeah, man.
over there.
Oh, damn.
I think when he come in the shop, there,
They're
when
6.5
Yeah.
foot tall guys.
he had to
walking
duck.
over.
that's what. Listen, honestly, this is no lie. I was thinking about that. You said, I fished. I was saying, there's a lot of damn weight on that boat the other day. How did the Phoenix handle
They
it?
didn't handle it too well.
What's the trip to is to see Mark Harden and Chad Spivey together fishing on the lake.
Yeah.
Chad's so daggum tall, man.
Yeah.
And Mark's average size, but that's a big dude.
Well,
And these two dudes walk up the other day, and it's like,
Yeah. I mean, 600 pounds of human being coming at you right there. And they're both about 6'7" or whatever. But that's like when you and I fish, everybody makes fun. Or even when we're like doing a video together on the TV show, the producer thought it was funny as crap because here's Ryan and here I am. I'm about belly button high to him on all that stuff. So, like what did he say? Like Rick and Danny? Yeah, I tell you what. Now let me ask you this about Lanier and about tournament fishing. You made a comment just to kind of circle back a long time ago. I think we talked about this about 40 minutes ago. I want to know, in your opinion, you talk about all these younger kids coming up, and it's just something that got brought up to me by somebody else. So it's been kind of on my mind. With all the technology, and we both agree it's good and it's here to stay, but is it doing the younger generation a little bit of a disservice? Because like the old timers had to grow up learning how to, with their eyes and with their instinct, find fish. And now they're just using the new technology to better themselves. This younger generation is learning on that technology only. Is it doing them a disservice as anglers, in your opinion?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's doing a disadvantage. It's just a tool. It's like, NRX rod and a Zebco rod.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
still
true.
catch fish on it, right?
Yep.
But I think the more that kids get involved, and even if it's easier to understand or comprehend what's going on, hell, we're learning too.
Yeah.
It's new technology to us.
Yes.
So it's like it's exposed to us, and we're learning it just like they are. And if it's doing them good and they're on the water,
At least they're not in front of their phones
absolutely.
playing video games.
Mhm.
I was
Now,
just curious.
afterwards, they've recorded that.
Yeah.
And that's cool technology too. I was going to ask you guys to find out, when you've seen those videos from Emil and you've seen those videos from Jordan Lee, how are they even making that work? I mean,
Listen, I will tell you this, and I'm going to go by just today.
Yeah.
Because today I was on the Chateau.
you're seeing a video of them truly casting and fishing, I guess, because they got a GoPro on their chest.
Yep.
But then you're also seeing the image of the actual live scope screen at that moment, at that time.
There's
how's
another
that working?
camera. So you got to put a camera on one and then the camera on the other. It's like today, fishing, I had a chest camera. I had my net with the camera in it. I had a head camera on. I mean, I looked like I was a patient. And then Josh had 3 cameras on the bank surrounding me. I forgot to turn and this should tell you how hard it is. On that net camera, if you hit a GoPro, you can have it just straight record for hours or whatever, and then we'll go back and sync it. But I forgot to turn mine on. 2 times today, I hooked a trout. I'm getting it ready, and I'm like, crap, I didn't turn my camera on net. reached down there, tried to hit that button, lost the fish both times. It's not easy. These guys putting out videos, making that. It's not easy.
Yeah, I don't.
Especially for an old fart like me. It's not.
Not to contradict you,
Yeah.
but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
I think that it's some kind of. I think there's an HDMI cable that's on the Garmin's or the Lowrance that's actually recording that, and then they're filming it and they're splicing them together when they're doing their editing, right?
That might be. It's in the
that's
editing.
what I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you see that, it kind of goes back to the kids fishing today, or again, guys, 25 years and younger, I call kids, but they're in tune with everything.
They are.
That's their life.
And it's a thing about us being our age, because we kind of talked about it before the show. Take social media. YouTube's got an algorithm, TikTok's got an algorithm, Instagram's got an algorithm, and they're all different. So these kids today that are really slamming the game on social media, they're smart enough to know all of them. So not only do you got to know what the social media feed wants you to put in there, then you got to know all the hashtags and everything. You got to know how to work the cameras. You got to know how to. It's a different world than what you and I grew up with. Speaking of which, what was the name of that fellow that posted that picture of you the other night?
Who, Lane Wright? Yeah.
Did you see that picture of him the other night? Scott, was that at a prom? Was you going to prom?
That was prom years ago.
And what year was that?
Man, 87.
87.
87, yeah.
This man right here, just for shits and giggles.
I had long flowing hair.
Put the camera back on Scott. Take that hat off. Now, guys, if you go back on Facebook and you look at this post, this man had a mullet. You had the mullet going on back in the 80s.
I had some hair.
You was in a white tuxedo with a cane.
Wasn't a white tuxedo.
It was white.
It had a white jacket.
White jacket
on.
And you had white shoes,
I
dude.
had white shoes and a white cane.
You pulled off the white shoes.
That was back in the day, man.
And did you see the model? Was that a limousine?
Limo.
Or was it like a Crown Vic?
Cadillac DeVille. Yeah, it's Cadillac DeVille.
Listen, I grew up in the 80s too.
Yeah.
Now was the 80s not the best damn decade?
The best.
Our music was better. Our women, the hair was better. Everything was better in the 80s.
Bigger ain't always better, Danny.
Hey, listen, I like big uns. I like them big. That is not towards my wife, guys. Please do not take that way, Amanda. That's not what I meant.
Back to that question. I won't stay on it too long. But
yeah,
we're all learning. So it's not. The question was kind of geared to the younger generation.
Yeah,
but the people that have it, and there's plenty of people that don't have the forward-facing sonar that do really, really well.
Yeah.
Greg Ferlaney and his son, they don't have it, and they come to every one of our tournaments. Super incredible guys. I'm telling you, man, they're awesome.
Yeah.
And Greg can flat out.
He's a good dude.
He can flat out catch them. Dude.
Yeah.
And he just wants to stay away from it, I believe.
Some people do that. Yeah. And that's okay.
But the ones that have it, and even us, any age group. I think we're learning.
What do you use?
I use a Garmin.
You're a Garmin. You're a Garmin.
Yeah, I have
Ryan's a Garmin.
I have a 106 SV with the 34, but there's other levels of it now that are much better, better pixel, but I'm not changing. Okay. Mine's effective.
Well, somebody asked, what video from a meal are you talking about? Are they on YouTube?
It's on his Facebook page.
It's on his Facebook page. It's also on Jordan Lee Fishing page. You can go in and look when he visited Lanier prior to fishing our tournament. He has a couple videos there. I just thought they were pretty cool, and it's eye-opening and what you can learn, and people that are not exposed to it or doesn't have it. You can talk about the fish today. There's a lot of deep fish. There's a lot of shallow fish.
Yeah.
And man, when you can see, I call it X-ray vision. You basically just scoping. That's what it's called, live scope.
Well, that's what it is.
When you're scoping out there and you see the bait balls and you see that they're close to the bottom or they're close to the top, it kind of triggers to you, and you learn from it. Hey, should I be throwing a bottom bait, a moving bait, spot choker, underspin, whatever? And that'll tell you, last couple of weeks, that's been on fire for us a good bit.
Yeah.
Throwing that as well. We are worm fishermen and jig fishermen, but in those ditches, if you see that bait high, just steadily roll that underspin, that spot choker underspin, throwing a 1/4 ounce, his new finesse one.
Uh-huh.
And I'm giving him props here because it really is good. But
what do you throw at the back of it?
I just throw a standard fluke Junior.
You like the fluke. Mm-hmm. So you're not a Kitech guy. You like
I feel like, and again, everybody has their own personal preference.
I want to know what you throw.
I don't want to tell on it because I feel like the blade's making enough of the motion, breaking the water and all of that versus the tail on it. So I'll just use a junior fluke.
Now, when you're ditch fishing, since you brought up ditch fishing,
Are you keeping contact with the bottom, or are you basically allowing the bait that you see to dictate how high up when you're fishing the ditch?
Both. I rotate. Again, you never know when that big fish is going to bite. You can be catching, 2-3 pounders that are all on the bottom, but one may be roaming, and you scope him out there and you see two, and there's only 2 fish that are in 10 feet of water over a 50-foot bottom, and you throw over them and bring it across, and then bam, you got a good fish, 4-pounder.
Right.
And you think that you're on something. This is where the controversy and my mind doesn't work right. You think you're on something, then okay, the small fish are on the bottom, and I need to come out here and scope over the trees. Well, everyone that you see, those other 2 or other 3, they're not all 4 or 5 pound fish. They could be a 2-pound fish.
Right.
It's just percentages, and that's why I get back to saying I like to hit as many spots that I can in a day. And it may be totally wrong. Hell, it is wrong because I'm not winning, right?
But I've seen your weights. You're not doing bad.
But somebody's on something more specific than I am. But who's to say, here's the question, who's to say that they didn't throw it, the 2 fish that they saw, and caught, smaller fish, and they caught all of their fish on the bottom? They were all big fish.
Right.
You never really know.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle, man, and I can't put it together.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Over your 16 years of running tournaments, compare back then to today. You kind of know what the guys are doing. You talk to these guys. You're in with them, and you're friends with them. 16 years to today, what is the different patterns that you're seeing today that you didn't see 16 years ago?
A lot of people used to throw jerkbait a good bit, and I don't know if a lot of people are throwing it today. I think they're more worm and jig, and then and again, it's depending on time of year.
Right now. Let's talk about right now.
So my trail is basically fall through winter, early
You
spring.
don't fish summer.
I'm done.
We've talked about that.
I can't. I don't like fishing in the summer.
Right.
But this time of year, 16 years ago, there was a lot of jerkbait fish caught, spinnerbait fish caught. And it's still effective today. I just think we've changed and adapted, or think we're adapting, moving into different realms of fishing with different types of baits, and it's working. You're catching fish, but you can still catch them on those lures today.
Yeah, that's what my next question was. 16 years ago, what would you be throwing? What would Scott Barnes be throwing in a tournament?
Man, I'd still be throwing a worm.
All right, would you be?
That's just my confidence.
Would you be throwing a shaky head worm back then, or old Texas rig?
So when I moved up here, I moved from Columbus, Georgia, years ago.
Really, you lived in Columbus?
I did.
I lived in LaGrange for a while.
No kidding.
Yeah, for a little while.
So
what's wrong?
That's
with
actually how I know Lane. So Lane and I went to high school together.
Okay, I got you.
Long story to go with that, but I won't get into details. But
that's for another time.
But so 16 years ago, when I moved up here, I literally would drive back and fish to West Point, and I would fish Eufaula just because I knew those lakes and they were largemouth lakes. And then I would fish Lanier too. But the reason I would go to those lakes is because I couldn't figure out Lanier. It was harder than hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to take some guide trips. I went out with Ryan Coleman and did some spoon fishing. I did some jig fishing, and it kind of opened up my eyes that, hey, there's a lot of fish out here. I was just doing things that I was used to at West Point and Eufaula, fishing the bank 100% of the time, going in the back creeks, and you can catch fish, and you can catch some monsters doing that. But the open water on Lanier and the main lake, in my opinion, is where the bigger fish are in the winter and the fall, and then in the spring they'll start to move, in pockets and other things. But it opened my eyes to see that how many fish, and we didn't have forward-facing sonar, but you had, the standard 2D.
Yeah.
And when you would spoon fish and over a bottom, it opened my eyes to say, hey, there's nothing on the bottom, but you drop this spoon down and you fire it up and you start, jigging it, and all of a sudden your 2D would light up, look like spaghetti. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
LJ talks about that a lot.
Yeah, man.
He talks about that a lot.
So Lanier being clear, Lanier being a herring lake, was totally different than what I was used to.
You see Derek's comment, Derek Wire right there. 16 years ago, you was not throwing it at suspended fish over 50 foot of water.
Correct.
And that's kind of changed. Now,
it's changed because of forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
Without a doubt it has.
All right. So I want you to do this.
Now, some people were doing it.
Yeah.
But very few, and they were catching them, but we didn't know about it. and then now we're discovering it.
Uh-huh.
So like you said, with the kids today, they're learning this and they're catching on
quicker than,
yeah, that's right.
So I want you to do this. We've got a lot of guys that watch this show, and they always they want a little tidbit of knowledge, something that can help them go out next week. They don't get to fish all the time, but if they go out, say next Saturday, in Scott Barnes' way of fishing, tell them a few things that you would concentrate on, what you would look for as far as you're on Lake Lanier or any of these herring lakes.
Yeah.
And then Ryan can chime in. The reason I do this because I have to go to the bathroom. And if I give you a question where you got to talk a while, it's going to make it easier on me. So, hey, listen, I'm setting it up right. So I'll get Ryan involved. But both of you, for a guy that's going to go to Lanier or any of these herring lakes next week, what is something that you would tell them to try and do to look for to concentrate on? And then I want Ryan to answer that same question because I know it may be the same, could be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So now you get to look right at the camera because you got to talk to them.
No problem.
There you go.
I got it from here. We'll see you when you get back.
It won't take long.
So yeah, if you were going on Lanier and not familiar with it, put it in any creek. Let's just take Charleston Park, for example. Put it in at Charleston. Don't complicate things. Have a shaky head, have a jig, what you're confident in, whatever color you like, from a 6-inch finesse to whatever, and go fish some shallow rock, some stumps that you may see with your live scope, and throw the jig and worm. For the deep fish, get out in the 40-foot range where the timber it begins, and then throw a jig and a worm, and seriously just you watch the Jordan Lee video, and you'll see that, the timbers that's out there in that 35, 40 feet of water, you may see some bait. Throw out there, let the bait hit the bottom, jig or worm, and just pulsate it back as slow as you can. And when it gets heavier, you feel the bite, there's plenty of fish. It could fire them up, and you'll continue to catch, 3 or 4, maybe even more than that, and then move and find that confidence that, you can catch fish deep. And then also try shallow with a worm and jig. That's basically what I would do, and not try to run a bunch of places, not to run 17 places from, Young Deer or Charleston Park and 6 Mile. Just get in there and fish that entire creek from Charleston Park all the way out to the mouth. And you can spend hours in 6 Mile, hours in Young Deer, and pick apart these types of areas. That would be my 2 exclusive ways to catch fish right now, and you can catch some really good fish and some numbers doing it, in my opinion. Ryan, what do you think?
I'll echo 100% of everything that he says. The only thing that I will add is with forward-facing sonar right now, and with your physical eyes, especially first thing in the morning, if you see a lot of bait in the area, this is my opinion. If you see a lot of bait in the area, don't even fish. Don't fish. If you see enough bait in the area where you literally tell yourself, go, oh my God, there's a ton of bait here, don't even fish.
I've seen you do that.
The key right now is finding an area that has just the right amount of bait. Do you agree with that right now, Scott?
I do.
That has just the right amount of bait.
Yeah.
Have you found lately where areas though where there's a absolute crap ton of bait that it's just so hard to get a bite? I mean, you can still catch some fish, but you just can't compete with the real thing. And I've literally seen a few places in the past few weeks where it's bait as long as a football field. And the first place that we went to Sunday, I should have pulled the trolling motor up and left. But me being stubborn, I didn't. But there was bait from the timber out beyond the timber. There was bait in the timber, and there was bait all the way back up there in about 20 foot of water.
Yeah.
And it was about a 100-yard stretch.
So I agree with you, but at the same time, let's break down fun fishing. Let's break down tournament fishing with that. So fun fishing, if I was out there doing that, you get sucked in either way. And what I mean by sucked in is that you start seeing all these bait, you start seeing these fish, you're seeing it on the forward face of sonar, and you're like, man, I'm in the right area. And you may literally fish that area and not get a bite because either it's too much bait, wrong time, you're not triggering the fish with the right bait, or what have you. And you literally could go to the next pocket over and duplicate what you just did for an hour and a half that you didn't get a bite in those areas and absolutely whack them. Why is that? Don't really know. But there could be the same amount of bait. There could be, a little bit of bait, but every single pocket right now has fish in it. Can you catch them? It's a timing thing, I think, and you have to trigger them. Now, some guys that are just really excellent in what they do, I feel like, man, they've got something special going on and can trigger that fish to bite. And maybe I'm wrong. And, going back to those videos of Emil and everything, how many places did Emil go fish or Jordan Lee go fish and did the same thing for 15, 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes and say to themselves, damn, why am I getting a bite here? And then move to the next area and it's absolutely trigger and bite them. And they bite.
Yeah, I know Emil's a running gunner, though. He is a running gunner. Yeah. But what makes you, say you pull into a pocket, it don't matter what lake, is there anything you pull into a pocket? And I'm basing this off Ryan. We pulled into a pocket before, and Ryan was teaching me some things, and he said, we're not going to get bitten here. And I'm like, why? There's bait. The screen's light. He goes, there's too much bait. And we made some casts. We never got it, but we'd go to one that didn't have near the bait, and that's where you would catch your fish. And that's why you're basing your comment on. But I want to know, you and Clay, the way you fish, if you pull into a pocket, is there something like right off the top these fish aren't going to bite, or are you just going to chunk in there anyway? How do you make your decision, I'm going to fish this?
We got to sample it. You literally, I'm not going to pull in an area and scan over it with side scan and turn. If I see bait, that's a plus to me. And I don't think that I'm going to just turn around and get out of a pocket because there's too much bait. I'm going to try to drop and see what happens.
You're going to try.
Yeah. How many times you been on Lanier and drop your trolling motor and not see any fish? Very few times. The population of fish that's on Lanier, literally, man, I think 90% of the time when you drop your trolling motor, what we used to say, let me back up, is that we would fish an area before you had forward facing sonar and we'd all say, man, there's no fish in here. They've moved.
Right.
And the reality is now you're seeing, hey, there are fish there.
Yeah.
I've just fished it for 20 minutes, but I couldn't get them to bite. Now, can the next guy that comes in here make them bite? Maybe, maybe not. But the more you have history and the more you fish, you're going to discover that you have little hot areas, hot zones, hot pieces of, rock here, rock there that you've got history with that you've always caught big fish on.
Yeah.
And I go back and repeat those. Clay and I basically have a milk run. I think everybody has a milk run per se, but then they mix things up through the day. And when they mix things up, they may get lucky and catch a big one. But some of these guys aren't lucky.
Right.
And I truly mean that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at those top 5, top 6 that are always got the big bags. Man, they're honed in on something specific.
How much does contour lines as far as on your graphs? Do you use contour lines at all? Are you looking for specific depths?
I'm looking for drops a lot of times, like road beds and stuff like that this time of year, meaning that if you have a 50-foot, if you have a 30-foot bottom, 40-foot bottom, whatever depth it is, and you've got a drop and you've got a true road bed, you can catch fish all day long in there right now. I say all day long, but I mean, it's a high percentage. It's a high percentage spot.
You say that a lot. You say percentage. You say high percentage. So that's what you're looking for. It's high percentage.
If I want to go catch fish and sample, remember what I said is that one day I could go on a road bed and I may catch 2 or 3 pounders on that. 3 days later, you could go in there and there could be a school of 4 pounders in there. It's trial and error for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving you the God's honest truth, man. It's 100% trial and error for us. We're going to go try places that we fished and have caught big fish. We need to expand on it and go find other areas, but we're so caught up in our ways sometimes, and it's done pretty good for us. Right. And the bite's going to get better for us, but to go out there and fun fish, man, Lanier's a great place to do that. Take a kid out, take somebody fishing.
Oh, yeah. I'm the king of the 2-pound bass on Lake Lanier. Awesome. I can catch a ton of 2-pounders.
You can go catch them. You can crawl. Yeah. You take a kayak and just slow roll it on the bottom, and that's coming. It actually has already started.
Yeah.
I think you guys know that.
Yeah. And so, like Shop Life, Mr. North Carolina right there. Again, man, thank you very much for watching. I like it when people from other states watch. Road beds are killer in North Carolina.
Yeah, and not only road beds, and I'll give a little bit here. And again, these guys are smart that are on here watching the ones. How many viewers we got? 102. Look, these guys know how to fish, and I'm not hiding any secrets. Is that, even if you're fishing shallow, don't just fish the point right up on the bank. Look for areas, and there's certain specific areas in Lanier that have a definition of a drop.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a daggum boulder that drops. How many of you been out lately that have been fishing shallow and discovered that what's on the bank that's dried up right now and there's no water on it? You basically see drops of where rock piles are, or a mass of rock, formation of rock that has a drop on it, and it's completely out of water. But when it's full, that it's shallow on one part, but you bring something over the top, it's going to drop on it. That's what I mean. And they're still out there. You have levels of drop. You have the first drop, the second drop, the third drop, and water being low right now, you're seeing the first two drops. There's a third one and fourth one in some areas. Not all areas have that. A point can be flat all the way out for 55, 60 feet before it drops, and some don't drop at all. But there's certain locations on the lake that have those drops, and they're killer right now. They really are.
Yeah. He said, "You're welcome. Found y'all on TikTok a while back." Well, there you go. Hey, that means TikTok was worth doing right there. So glad you could join us. You say road beds, and Ryan helped me out on a tournament. It was a couple months ago. We were on Thompson Creek.
November.
Thompson Creek. Fish were dirt shallow too. So between Ryan and Kevin Underwood, both of them helped me out a little bit. But we were struggling the second day, and Ryan's like, "There's a road bed." And I think everybody knows the road bed I'm talking about on Thompson Creek, right by the boat ramp right there. And Ryan goes, "I'm telling you, if you go hit that road bed one more time, you'll catch one right there." And sure enough, I mean, we took 2 calls off that road bed within 40, 50 yards of the boat ramp, because there's something about a road bed, the structure and everything of it, just being different from the terrain.
Correct.
Whether it's in 40 foot of water or, hell, what was it then? 5 foot of water? You could see.
It wasn't very deep. It's not very deep.
It's not. And you could see it, the whole thing.
Well, what I think is cool too is with forward facing sonar, you're truly seeing it. You're truly seeing where the drops are. But if you catch it at the wrong angle, you may have to be, to the left of this point, 100 feet back to see the specific drop. But from the other side of it, it looks like it just disappears. And I'm getting technical with you, and some of these guys know what I'm talking about. That if you're seeing on your screen 60, 70, I've got mine set at 100 feet out. So if I'm 100 feet away, but I move in a little bit and I see the contour of the bottom just totally disappear, that means there's a drop on that side. Crank your boat up, move around, and look at that drop, and it's going to be a different view than where you were prior. And you will probably see fish there today. And again, a lot of these guys know that. And so anybody that doesn't, go out there and explore and use your electronics for that.
Yeah. And that again, we keep saying live scope's a tool. Stuff like, the electronics.
And there's fish on brush right now as well.
There you go. There's your tip, fish on brush. Guys, hey, look, we're getting later on in the show. So if you got any last questions in the comment section, make sure you throw them out. You guys in the gallery, you got any questions? Y'all just listen attentively. I just woke up. You just woke up?
Easy now.
Listen. Hey, listen. It's an age thing over there.
We need to get him on camera. He's 71 years old.
You know what?
Unbelievable.
You know what? Come over here for a second.
We got to show
Come over here.
He introduced himself.
This guy, listen, you guys hear me talking about the best looking 70-year-old man you're ever going to see. Just for a second, just long enough for people to see you.
Yeah, I want you to get next to me. Come on in here.
All right, so look.
Now look.
Who do you?
I'm 54, and this guy is 71 years old.
Look at that. That is Kevin Thornton, guys. You see him in the comment. He's up here.
Fountain of youth right here. I'm telling you.
That right there is the best looking 70-year-old man you'll ever see in your life. So. Yeah. And Publix chicken is dynamite.
It's the best.
He's been doing push-ups over there for the last 20 minutes.
And he don't even have to have Viagra right there. I don't. Listen, first of all, I hope I'm alive at 70.
Yeah, that's right.
Second of all, I hope I look just half as good. Yeah. And third of all, I hope my stuff works like he says his stuff works. So listen, that's all I know right there. And I see Kevin, spinnerbait throwing man, Casey Blanton. So he's spinnerbait throwing man out there.
Here's a question for y'all.
Here's a question. Threadfin in Lanier. That's right. I saw that earlier. I don't fish it much, and curious to know if there are quite a few in there. Ryan, I know you know about the threadfin in Lanier.
Yeah, there's plenty of threadfin.
Plenty of it.
You got three pretty good populations of the main forage, I guess, on Lanier, not including the sunfish forage being the brim.
The brim cometh.
But you've got of course we have, blueback herring everywhere from one end of the lake to the other. You've got a pretty good population of threadfin. That's from one end of the lake to the other too. And then the gizzard shad population, we're just people like me are just biding our time.
We got some big old gizzard shad, don't we? Got some big gizzard shad.
People like me are just biding their time for the.
You ever target gizzard shad?
For the gizzard eaters to really get more prominent.
Ryan likes
gizzard shad. Ryan.
Huh?
Another question for you here, Ryan. What kind of largemouth do we have in Lake Lanier, northern or Florida? I'm assuming we're northern.
They're pure northern strain largemouth.
There you
1,000% pure.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
What's the difference for somebody that doesn't know in a northern strain and a Florida strain? As far as if you're looking at 2 5-pound largemouth bass, one's northern, one's Florida. What are the physical characteristic differences in those fish?
Hard to tell.
I have no idea.
So
I don't either. That's why I'm at. Ryan might. I don't know.
Like a F5 or is that a tornado? F5 tornado? Is that
That's
what it
a
is?
tornado.
F7, F5.
That's from the movie Twister, Scott.
Hey, listen, Van Halen did that daggum, did that soundtrack right there, baby.
F1. That's the hybrid.
F1's a hybrid of the two.
F1's the hybrid.
I knew there was an F something though.
So that the northern strain they're your typical greenback. They have a kind of pearly silver belly. There's not a big hard lateral line change between them that's pronounced as hard as it is on a Florida strain. The biggest characteristic is if you have a 5-pound northern strain in this hand and a 5-pound Florida strain in this hand, and you stick them in the water together, and you told somebody that didn't know, was like, which one looks different? They're going to pick the Florida strain out quicker, because the Florida strain is actually the old name for them is called a black bass, because they actually look black on their back in the water. But the Florida strain, because of their genetics, they don't live as long. The northern strain largemouth is the longest living bass that lives. There is nothing else that compares. The Florida strain, no, a northern strain largemouth can live to be over 20 years old.
Are you serious?
In the right circumstances. One
wow,
can be up 20
I didn't know
years
that.
old.
Did you know that?
The Florida strain lived to be
the
Florida strain lived to be somewhere. I think they did a test several years ago. I think they found one that was 16 years old, and it was one of the oldest ones they found. On average, they find them, 11, 12 years old, and they're over 10 pounds. Florida strain, they live differently, they act differently. We have several lakes here in North Georgia, of course, that are stocked with Florida strain. Good old fashioned Dahlonega Reservoir.
Yahoo!
They put Florida strain bass in Yahoo Reservoir. That was what they put in there.
Oh my God.
And I don't know why, but that's what they put in there.
That's what the truck brought.
But we reaped the benefits of that one after a few years after that lake was
That's what I was going to say. There was some big
because those
bass.
fish got big.
They were big.
And Eli self, me and him growed up from kindergarten together, all the way up.
He's a golfer now.
He is a professional golfer.
He is awesome
right now.
I like him.
But Florida's put on way more weight faster, no matter what kind of water conditions you have, water temperature conditions. Florida strain put on more weight faster than northern strain.
But northern live longer.
Northern live longer.
Northern have a smaller mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? There we go. See, we got information flowing all over this room tonight, so I love it like that.
And then an F1 is 60% Florida and 40% Northern.
Now, let me ask y'all, since we got all you guys here.
How do you get that, a 60-40 split?
It takes a couple of generations of spawning to make the right wombo combo, female and males, to produce them.
Make that work.
You can't just have a farm and start, I'm going to produce F1 largemouth.
Okay.
It takes a couple of.
Well, let me ask all you guys, everybody in here other than me and me a little bit, but all you guys fish these lakes. There's two types of largemouth that I'm seeing, whether it's Latham, whether it's Lanier, whatever. You got the largemouth that does what a largemouth we think is supposed to do, that sits on a stump in 5 foot of water, waits for a spinnerbait that comes over and just crushes it. Now a lot of people are seeing largemouth become like pelagic. That's the scientific word. They're out there with the spots chasing the bluebacks. I mean, that's what they do. So, of the two strains, is it possible, if they just threw bass in there, is it possible which one is the one that's more lethargic and which one is the one that would be more apt to be aggressively chasing bait?
The Hartwell bass.
A Hartwell bass?
Hartwell.
Okay, by Hartwell. What is Hartwell? Northern or
Northern?
So you think Northerns are more apt to get out there with the bluebacks and chase?
The Hartwell, the Hartwell
You think so,
largemouth
Kevin?
are different.
Kevin thinks so.
The largemouth that come out of Hartwell are just completely
Hey, look,
different.
my gosh,
animals.
Eli's watching tonight.
Um,
What's up, Eli? I love your golf swing, dude. He took up golf. Dude's got a smooth swing. He's got a smooth swing. I suck at golf. Pull up Ronnie Anderson. That's our buddy from Virginia, ain't it?
Yeah.
Pull up that. They stocked F1s in my home lake here in Virginia, and from the studies by Fish and Game and college studies, they've only had 3% show up over 4 pounds. The F1s. Now, is that probably because he's in Virginia? They got a shorter growing season than we do down here, and then even Florida.
What's an Okeechobee?
I mean, you can.
What is an Okeechobee?
Florida.
Florida.
You can put them in any conditions, but they don't have enough food to get big. They're not going to get big.
No.
They're going to
growing
grow.
season in Virginia is.
So what?
But one of the reasons why
they're gonna grow to the
believe
capacity of the forage bank.
It is.
I can't believe we got
that.
Scott Barnes on here tonight, and all of a sudden, 15 minutes ago, we're sitting here getting technical. One of the biggest things that has to deal with largemouth growth rates is forage, but also growing season, and specifically, pretty much when you get below Tennessee, that's why Texas, Louisiana, South Alabama, Florida, South Georgia, like Seminole, those places like that. That's why you see these big 10+ pounders caught like all the time, because they just facts are facts. I mean, Okeechobee right now, it's December, it's cold. We're talking about winter fishing. If we went to Okeechobee right now, went fishing, we're going to be looking for pre-spawn females.
Mm.
You
ever fished down there?
I never have.
We're going to be looking.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be looking for. We're going to be finding fish in areas where it's like, man, they're not very far from bedding areas, down in Okeechobee right now.
I love when Florida guys come up here and they talk about deep water fishing in Florida is 8 feet.
And what's crazy is this past year and the year prior, we've made trips up to Michigan.
Yes, you have.
Up to Lake St. Clair. And sometimes the wind's so bad up there that you can't get out there and smallmouth fish. So you go in these little cuts or whatever.
Like the oxbow kind of little lakes.
I forgot the name of it.
I don't either.
But you put in there, and dude, you can catch largemouth one after another. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's canals. That's the word I'm trying to find. So you go into these canals and just flip in there. But they're not real big. They look different, but they are absolutely populated in those canals.
Mm-hmm.
But we're up there to smallmouth fish.
Right.
So it's amazing to go to these other fisheries and see that, man.
More than big lakes up there when the wind blows, it's a different beast.
Yeah, it's eye-opening.
Yeah, I got sick and puked like crazy when we were filming up
It ain't no joke, man.
It is
no joke at all out there.
And I've said this before.
Scott, I can't believe y'all are brave enough to do that in the bass boat.
Yeah, it's
yes. Now listen, so they were telling me, and this is totally off subject, when we were fishing and we were filming on Lake Michigan, that they put the salmon in there They're not native. They stocked them in there. And the first time they had a tournament, they had 70 boats, and all these guys went out with John boats and stuff like that. And a big storm came up, and they lost just about, like people drowned.
No doubt.
They lost about the entire field. Nobody understands how quick those big lakes, and I didn't until I went up there, how it goes from glass to you better save your ass. It's
nautical.
It's awful.
And it's quick.
We had all 4 seasons when we were up there at the end of April. Literally, man, we'd wake up in the morning, it'd be 28, 29 degrees. It would snow, it would sleet, then the sun would come out, it would get to 50 degrees during the day. The wind would blow. It was the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life, man.
But you had the time of your life.
It is incredible.
It is.
But now I need to expand and go to other places up there. Lane went up there a couple of weeks back. He's been going quite a bit, and he went to Lake Erie, which is right below Lake St. Clair's River up there. But he's told me some stories.
I haven't been on those. I got on Lake Michigan, but it is like the ocean.
Yeah,
when it gets roughed up and going like that. All right, guys, we're about an hour 50 in, getting close to our bedtime, especially considering I got up at 6 this morning and went fishing all day. Anything else, Ryan, that you want to bring up? I know Scott's a busy man. I want to make sure.
Yeah, right.
Huh?
Right.
Hey, you got to go make that money in the mortgages and stuff like that, right?
That's right.
How is that market?
It's picking back up quite a bit.
Is it?
Last couple of weeks, a lot of more construction loans and land loans coming, but I think right now, once the rates drop, you'll see some more activity.
You want to pitch go ahead and pitch your business right here.
Sure.
Pitch it. No, pitch it.
So yeah, if anybody's looking for land to build a home, to buy a home, give me a call. Be glad to help you. Be honored to help you, actually. I'm with Ameris Bank Mortgage, been in the business for 24 years. And like I said, be honored to help you and treat you right.
There you go. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can call me at 678-777-8727. That's the best way to reach me. My email is scott.barnes@amerisbank.com.
There you go. We want to make sure hey, listen, guys, if you're in the market, you might as well use one of our angling buddies right there. We like to keep stuff in the angling community and all that. Ryan, you got anything? I know you worked out in the cold today, and I know you're tired. You got anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah. You want some redemption on your TikTok?
Go ahead.
Explain to everybody what we mean. Redemption on the TikTok. So we put a TikTok out of a podcast that I did with Scott probably 3 years ago. A 3-year-old podcast, and we in our artificial intelligence pulled out some excerpts. I put one out there, and it actually got quite a bit of traffic. So with that being said, now you know, and if you don't know, go to Fish North Georgia's TikTok. Make sure you like it while you're there.
All right, for the TikTok. All right, brush piles.
Mm-hmm.
What about them when people putting them in?
I did not even go there tonight. You remember that?
I pulled it up today to remind myself. So.
I did,
brush piles
and respect.
Has your thinking on brush piles kind of changed when it comes to
from an aspect of respect?
Yes.
Yeah, because back then you were saying, if you knew of somebody else, you weren't going to fish it.
Yeah,
those kind of things.
Yeah, so it's changed. It's changed totally.
Yeah, let's real quick. Let's hit that.
That's why I said let's get you.
At the end of the day, nothing hides anymore. You can't hide anything.
Cannot.
And back to the saying, it's public lake. Look, if I'm fishing a tournament out there, which I don't fish in the summer, right? 9 times out of 10, I think brush pile fishing is year round without a doubt, but it's more popular during the summer months, right? So there's a level of respect that if you truly are fishing a brush pile, I've been to Guntersville and other lakes where they pull right up on you. I've never really had anybody come up on me while I'm fishing brush or casting to it and try to fish the same brush pile. So let me be clear. Back to the TikTok about the respect thing. You got to have respect in fishing with other anglers, but nothing hides anymore with forward-facing sonar. You truly could mark a waypoint that's on a hump that's a great brush pile. Me personally, I've never put one brush pile in my entire life. I have found everything. Sonar,
let other people do that for you, baby.
And now with Live Scope, if you see it, you're gonna fish it. I mean, I don't see anybody not fishing it, or any other reason why not.
But you were saying back in the day when we did that podcast that if you knew one of your buddies put in a brush pile, or somebody you fished with during the week, or whatever it was, and you're against them in a tournament, you were not going to fish their brush pile.
Correct.
That was back then.
Yeah, you're right.
Does that still remain the same as far as buddies go?
Yeah, man, you put me on the spot here. It's inevitable. I mean,
it is inevitable.
It is.
It is.
I mean, if they're not there fishing it, I'm gonna fish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you don't,
but I don't. I honestly don't have a lot of buddies that I know that go out and put brush piles. I'm sure they do, but they haven't told me it's there.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
But if you find it,
yeah, you find it, you fish it, and 90% of the people on here do the same thing. I mean, it is what it is.
I got one more question when it comes to respect like that. Since you run a tournament, you also have to deal with drama.
Some.
So, what is generally in your 16 years of running tournaments? What is the number one topic that you have seen that creates drama or that creates an argument amongst anglers? Maybe not you specifically, but you know that this has happened. Guys are arguing about it. Over 16 years of tournament fishing, what's the number one thing they complain about with each other?
Danny, I don't have any one thing specific,
right?
and there hasn't been a ton of drama. You just have to deal with personalities a lot, right? So
that's true.
So I really can't pinpoint one thing,
right?
I guess maybe there has been, very few complaints of, I really don't know. I'm sitting here trying to think, and
so you've been blessed, then, and you ain't had a lot.
Yeah, you just got to deal with some personalities every once in a while.
Yeah, because there are personalities.
But I'm a very neutral person. When I have my tournaments, it is. Ryan commented upstairs. I'm not as technical. A true tournament director are the Dane hunters that with the ABA, right? Mark Anglin with the Fishers of Men.
He's a good dude.
He's a great dude.
He's a good dude.
One of the best men I know.
He's a good dude. I know him.
So when you have to plan and go out to these other lakes, other states, and you got a group of people that's following you, they need hotels, that you got to make certain that a ramp's open and all that. Those are the guys that really do that. Me, I'm just a guy that runs open tournaments on Lake Lanier, but I do it right. I get the permits, I do this, and I open it up.
But you run a hell of a trail.
We have some great events.
Don't downplay yourself.
I'm not downplaying it or sugarcoating it. I just know that.
I mean, they call you the mayor.
They call me the mayor. They do. I try to be as humble as I can be. Right.
Yeah,
so
right.
At the same time, it's just fishing, man. Let's come out here, put your money in the hat, and let's go have a good time.
May the best man win.
May
the best man win.
And to answer Shoply's question, yes, they like bamboo. They will spotted bass will get on bamboo.
Oh, hell, they'll get on anything.
They will be on your bamboo if you put bamboo out there. The only problem with cane piles and stuff on Lake Lanier is the minute some jackwagon drags his treble hook bait through the top of it and he gets hung and then he knocks your cane pile over.
Oh, so is that more vertical kind of? I mean, gets on up. Is that the way he does it?
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your stance on the subject? Is that what he's talking about? Yeah. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
No comment.
All right, guys. So listen, we've gone about 2 hours tonight. Had a hell of a show. A lot of information. A lot of good talk. Scott, first of all, I want to thank you personally, number one, for taking the time to come down here and hang out with us. Again, like I said, I know you're a little bit outside this year, good dude, but you do run one of the better, more respected trails. You got some hellacious guys that come out.
Well, it ain't just me though, Danny. Clay, and Franco helps me tremendous. Clay's always been with me. Franco has stepped up and helped us.
Really?
Hey, man, he's phenomenal.
Listen, is that that's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Without a doubt.
He's the fish sorter.
Huh?
He's the
guy that can tell you all about the hover rig.
Yeah.
And
Corrado, I never get his last name.
Gianfranco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? The best thing about him is that is the most family man I've ever met.
You learn a lot from him.
He's got a good faith and everything like that. So he's a good deal. All right. So again, guys, if you watched tonight, we want to thank you. The comment section has been lively. A lot of you guys have watched tonight. It's been a great show. You guys keep it going. And again, it was earlier in the show. If you run into somebody on the lake that you think might be interesting for the live well, hey, by all means, ask them and then get in touch with us. We'll stick them in the chair like that. Again, Ryan, thanks for coming up. Paul, for coming up, running the board. Hey, listen, guys, keep Paul and Tiffany. I know. I knew it started with a T. Tiffany in your mind. Paul's going to be a daddy here any second now, and I cannot wait to see how his life changes. With that,
You
Welcome.
might see a little less of me.
Yes, hey, listen. Welcome to sleepless nights because it's getting ready and changing diapers and all that stuff. I did my time. I'm glad I haven't got to do that again. And Tim and Kevin, hey, thank you guys for coming up, hanging out. Kevin brought us some Publix chicken, and I'm gonna tell you right now,
it's good.
That was very, very good. So you guys go support Publix. Don't that help you out still too? Don't you get your retirement from Publix? We need you to spend your money at Publix Supermarket. And by the way, if they're interested in being a sponsor for the live well, throw our name out there to them. But anyway, guys, listen, we appreciate all of you. Hey, again, December 18th, Option Line. It's going to hit. It's coming. So you guys going to check them out. We appreciate all our sponsors. If you're out there on the water this weekend, number one, be safe. Be respectful and have fun. We'll see you on the next one.
Good night, everybody.